to... Oh. Do that again now. Well, hello, it's now Saturday and race 2 for the cruiser class. Winds today. So last week, Hannah took you all on board Pintail for the Medway Keelboat Regatta to show you what it's like to enter the racing without actually taking the racing too seriously. This week it's my turn. Not from the regatta, this is the week after. It's the next in the series of the short-handed, single-handed race series, which I once again do on my own. Okay, so today it's the next next race in the Medway Yacht Club single-handed, short-handed race series. This is effectively race 3, but it's only the second one we sailed. The first one, I can't remember what the first one didn't happen. Oh, I don't think there was any wind. Anyway, this will be race 3, and unfortunately it doesn't sound like there's going to be many boats in it, and the only 2 boats I've heard other than me so far are much bigger and faster than me, so I imagine I'll have quite a lonely race. But there's, I don't know, 10 mile an hour wind, bit of sunshine occasionally. It'll be a long spinnaker run to start with. Could be worse things to be doing. So, it's 10 minutes to start. I've just put the mainsail up because it's all down river to start with, so it'll be the spinnaker up if I'm brave enough to do it. The only mark of the course that's even remotely awkward really is 23, because we have to jive at 23 and there really isn't much water there. Although there is a chance I could just bear away at 23 and then do the jive later. Much less intimidating going down this way, because we had 10 knots of wind with a few knots of boat speed. That's like 12-13 knots of apparent. It feels quite windy. You turn the corner, it's now, you know, well, actually the wind's dropped off, but it doesn't feel anywhere near as intimidating. Be alright, be alright. Seconds. 15 seconds. I think I'm racing. Let's go for it.
He is going for a spinnaker start on his own. Oh dear. There we go. It looks like there's 2 double-handers and 1 single-hander. Wowza, Reefer is in trouble. Okay, so, oh, now Ian's in trouble. I think spinnaker down, boys, and just put the jib up, but I'm not on board to tell him that.
Well, this is harder work than I intended. Got 15 knots of true wind. We've got a wrap round the back. Started to broach, I think. Fortunately, I saw them starting to broach, so I managed to ease my main and that, get ready before it happened. But it's all a bit exciting.
There they go then. Good luck, boys. See you after lunch.
And girls, maybe.
Don't know. I think it's all boys today.
Anyway, there's full tilt, the big Arcona. And if I span back, there's Reefer, who's just dropped his spinnaker. I, at the moment, I've still got mine up. but we are about to turn right a little bit here and it could start getting hard work. Exciting start. More than you'd expect for what was meant to be like 7 or 8 knots and not a lot happening and only 3 boats. We're 13 knots of true at the moment, which is not that much, but because we're pushing the tide, of course, we're getting most of that in apparent wind. So the loads are a bit higher than you expect, but it's okay. And I'm not last, which is good. Still, let's concentrate on sailing. This is a tricky bit coming up. So Reefer's going for the stay out of the tide route, which they're suffering for at the moment, I guess, because of the houses, but it will start to get better for them. Full tilt isn't far in front. I'm in that difficult position of thinking, how do you overtake a bigger boat? But I don't suppose that's going to last. As soon as they get into the new wind, they'll just take off. But we're going good. This wind is so puffy, you've got to keep the main sheet at hand, because as soon as these puffs hit, with the big spinnaker up and that, they hit so hard the boat just wants to round up. Unless you spill the wind, you get in trouble. As expected, the new breeze has come along and full tilt has stretched the legs a bit. Reefer, unfortunately, well, fortunately for me, unfortunately for them, hasn't quite got into this new pressure before they've cleared the houses, and they're just pegged by the tide a bit, so they're dropping back. But I'm sure that won't last long. Hopefully, once we get round this corner we call Mears, it'll be more of downwind until I get to that buoy at 23, which I mentioned at the start. But I think we might be all right. I think I might just be able to bear away at 23, then jibe, rather than a jibe at 23. So it wasn't my finest jibe. I tend to get a lot of that when I'm racing, because I end up having to jibe when I need to, when I've got a jibe, not when I want to jibe necessarily. Although that one wasn't really in that much of a panic, but it's going all right. So Reefer's steaming up here in what looks like good pressure. I think it's getting to us now. Full tilt is just inside me, who I'm hoping doesn't jibe, because put me in all kinds of pain, but hopefully they appreciate we're all short-handed and it's not so easy, and of course they want to stay out of the tide as well, so because we've got to get round Folly Point, that beacon just there. This hardly seems fair. I was doing so well there, but I had to go outside full tilt because they jibed inside me, and that's fair enough, but now Reefer's nipped up the inside as well and that good pressure, so I'm losing out here, but doesn't matter. I don't mind them in front, because then I'm free to do my own thing, especially as we get to 23. I want to jibe that when I want to jibe it, not because someone's inside me or something. Okay, don't know if you can see that. That's 23, we've just gone round. I was getting ready for the jibe,
but as it happens, doesn't look like we got to at the moment. Full tilt is having to jibe because of its asymmetric code 0 thing. Oh, it looks like they're goose winging at the moment. I'm just about on the run and going okay. So, one less jibe by the looks of it, which is good. I'm recording this for my own recollection, if nothing else, but all the way down to 23 we had 6 metres of water, loads. Just got within 50 yards of the buoy and it was like 3 metres of water. There's obviously a lot of mud moved around under there, so there's not actually much water around it anymore. So when I'm dinghy sailing, well actually when I'm any sailing on this boat, at least I've got something to tell me what's going on, but when I'm dinghy sailing nothing tells you. It's getting closer to wanting to jibe again now. Anyway, I'm still in the race. There's reefer creeping alongside the cranes. Often works, there's less tide over there and you can sometimes get a line of pressure over it. There's full tilt, trying to find a way of getting that sail to go downwind. It's a lovely sail, it's all lightweight carbon, whatever, very nice. It doesn't like this angle. Seahorse still has our big kite up and we're doing okay. Wind is all over the place with reefer. I was going to go in there, but it ain't looking so good, so I'm staying a bit further out and I seem to have found a nice line of pressure here now. Full tilt was given up and trying to go downwind and is now reaching back across, but then of course it wants to come over here to get out of the tide. There's a lot of mud over on the left here, which gives you a bit of tidal relief, so we'll all be over here at some point. So reefer has just got over the top of me and we're both kind of creeping down here almost by the lee, to be honest, but I don't think there'd be much that could be gained on the other jibe, and of course on my own the jibe is probably going to cost more than I gain, so I'm quite happy doing this. I'm out of the tide as much as I can be over here, and then as I get closer to it the tide will lee bail me and push me up to the mark. That's the plan anyway. In sailing, you'll often hear the phrase that size is everything. You can't beat waterline length. Well, it's a beautiful boat, full tilt, but if you haven't got the perfect sail for the job and it pushes you into the tide, size isn't everything. I'll take a picture of that because there's not many times on the front of that boat. It's a beautiful boat and it does go very well. So I managed to get round 15, almost sitting behind me. Okay, and I managed to get all the way down there at jibing, although it was getting a bit like this at the end. It's quite well by the lee, and I had full tilt just alongside me giving me dirty air, and it was a bit rock and roll. But anyway, it was all okay. Kite kept flying. We've now got to stay high, so it's a tight reach up past these jetty because I've got to keep West Bullock to starboard, which is kind of a way over, so it's quite hard to get up there. So I'm going to have to take the dirt of this jetty and then get up to it. Looks like reefer's struggling a bit in the dirty wind, but I imagine I will as well, but it's quite tight on the wind here. You can't give too much away, really. Okay, it's calmed me down a little bit, but it's just got a bit exciting. I've got 15 knots on a beam reach with this big kite up, which 15 knots in our boat is almost at the point where if you're cruising you're thinking about reefing. So you don't really want a big spinnaker up the front. I've had the main completely off, just backwinding, and just about hung on. The helm's doing a fantastic job. It's calmed me down a bit now. Still on the beam, down to 13 knots, just 13 knots. Still a lot for this big sail though. It's this point you think that decision I made about should I use the big spinnaker or the small spinnaker? Yeah, you have to start questioning that decision now. So we're coming up to 13, which is the lured mark effectively, and it's a long beat all the way back up river. So I'm going to drop the spinnaker early. There's lots to sort out on your own. So this camera might go a bit blurry because I'm going to drop it down this hatch. Plenty of time. Might even get the spinnaker tied up before I get there. Looks like there's a big gust coming. So this beat has only been going for 5 minutes. I've already made 2 mistakes. I've completely misread how much tide was ripping down the river and pushing me past 14. And now I heated up. I headed up because I thought I'm still on a beat, but I'm not. I've got to get around 16, which is down here. So I'm still fetching really. Right, they're the leaders. Let's go catch them up. So that's the next mark in the distance, 16. There's full tilt.
reefer has dropped a long way down to leeward. Don't know if they had a problem or misjudged the mark like I've been doing or what it is, but they've got some ground to make up there now. So it's turned into a bit of procession because none of us have much of an option. We've all tacked to get back out in the tide. We're all going to tack over here to get around 19, which is just coming up. But doesn't matter really. As much as I'm enjoying being with them, I'm not technically really racing them on the water because if I get in the same piece of water and wind as them, they are going to sail away from me. So. But I've been lucky so far. I've kind of got on the right side of a few of the shifts, which has kept me in the race. Okay, so I'm coming up with MYC 4. Reefer's just gone round. He's 100 yards in front, full tilt, another couple of 100 yards on that. We're looking good. There's only a couple more marks after this. I've got to do 19 to port, which is kind of just means I've just got to time my tacks to go around it, 'cause it's not really a mark. And then 27 to port, which again is the same. It's really just a point on the river that you've just got to kind of pass through. So it's just a straight beat back now, which will be good. Been good fun this beat, because although there's still only 11-12 knots of wind, with the boat speed and the tidal effect we've got 17-18 knots of a power, properly powered up, trucking along. It's good. Unfortunately I'm letting the helm, as you've seen, do all the tacking at the moment, because there's a bit too much to do else. And short tacking the helm's not good at because it oversteers, so you give away so much every time you do a tack. Let's try and do one properly. Okay, so this beat's starting to get a bit frustrating. It's getting a bit shifty and I seem to be on the wrong side of the shift for a bit. Leaders have kind of stretched away from me again, but I'm doing alright. It's a beautiful sail though, lovely day for a sail. So I've not done much filming recently because it's all got very busy.
Lots of wayfarers for their championship. Catch up all the Wilsonians boats who are having their race. The wind has been all over the place. So lots of tacks, lots of hard work. Now I've got the whole working my way to the club scenario, which is always hard work, deciding what the best thing to do is. But it's been a fantastic sail. The sun's been out most of it. I mean, it's cloudy, but it's come and gone. We've had a beautiful 10-12 knots breeze, generally speaking. Some bits a little bit less, some bits a little bit more, but you know, all good. And Seahorse has been perfect. Course was good. Really good fun. Anyway, I'm back to the point where I've got a fiddle, really. The leaders did stretch away from me, which is frustrating because I was doing so well for so long, but it is also to be expected.
And that's pretty much it. In the end, Full Tilt, that big Arcona, got ahead of me by nearly 9 minutes. But fortunately for me, it has to give me a bit more time than that in a 2.5 hour race, so I managed to win on handicap. From my point of view, that was a good end to a good day's sailing.
Okay, so Izzy and I are now going shopping in Asda on a Sunday.
And we're going to Argos for Bella and Holly, but Holly's at home because she's very tired.
Yeah. Happy sailing! I won't come out that close. Right then,